digital image processing, we need to understand first what is the image. When we were into our school, they started teaching us about optics, and you know how does a convex lens looks, right? It's very, very important that before we start doing the digital image processing, we get concept of what an image is. If you get the concept of what an image is, you will also get what is the concept of pixel is. So let me go to a convex lens here. They usually call this as a magnifying glass. This is the way the magnifying glass looks, you know. What exactly they do is that, this is the convex lens, the way it appears. Let's take the image of a convex lens. Fresnel lenses. No, we don't want Fresnel lenses. We want a convex lens. Yeah, this is our magnifying glass. And what we are going to do is that I'm going to explain what this has to do with image. This is your convex lens. And this lens is going to help us create a real image. How does a real image work? Let's go through this video for that. You need to understand how does a real image work.
All right, YouTube. Today we're sitting in my garage so that I can show you the misconception that a lot of people have with lenses. So when you do a ray tracing diagram, there's typically an object and an image, and people don't really understand the difference between it.
Did you observe that this guy is mentioning what is an image? We are going to talk first what is an image, and then we are going to talk about pixels. But before I talk about pixels, we are also going to talk on how the image is produced. And after that, after we talk about the image, we're going to talk about how a projector works in a theater, if you have seen movies so many times. And after that, we are going to talk about how we are going to, first computerize this process of, projecting a movie on a screen. After we talk of computerization of this, again, computerization has analog processing as well as digital processing. So we are going to talk digital processing of image after that. So by the time we come from, when we start from lens to the computerization, that means that first we are going to talk about how are we producing. We're going to take a lens. We are going to take a film. Then we are going to take a light source. and then we are going to get an image. So this is light source, this is film, this is lens. Light source is going to pass through lens, but what we need to know first is that we are going to have a light source first here. Then we're going to have a film here. We're going to have a lens, and we're going to have a canvas. Where you're going to make an image. Okay, this is the place where the image is made. But before that, let's revisit what we were taught in the school about the lens. So let's watch this video, and we are not going to use a film. We are going to use the real world first to make an image of the real world. How can we do this? We can use a convex lens and do this. So let's watch this video, which gives you an idea about this.
And virtual and a real image. So I want to show you a real image today and a virtual image. I'm sitting in my garage to do that so that we can use the objects across the street.
The scope of this video is, we're going to only focus on real image, not virtual image, but just let's see how the real image is made with the help of a convex lens.
See, light is coming in from the neighbor's Jeep at the neighbor's house through this lens, and there's an image. An image forms on the other side of this convex lens. Now the problem is light passes through this and an image forms over here, and people expect there to be some sort of hologram, like Princess Leia saying, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi," but there's not. But there is in fact an image here, and the issue is that image focuses at a particular point. Now, if I hold this lens near the wall, right here, as I put the lens closer and closer to the wall, there comes a point where all that light focuses and we get an image on the wall. If the lens is too far away, it's out of focus. The light is passing through here, but it's out of focus. But when this is just the right distance away.
Yes, now you see that you're getting a inverted image, which can be caught on a canvas. Now the next question comes is that when we see movies, we don't see an inverted image, right? We do see a straight image. Now the behind the scenes is here that the real world is also having the contents as well as the light source combined. But when we watch movies, the light source is separate, the content is in a film. So what is that film? How it is projected? Let's see that one also. It gives you an idea of how a cinema projector works. Let's go through that.
16,000 separate photographs. Let's tidy up this tangle of film by putting it on a reel. We'll build a projection machine to show the pictures on a screen. The film unwinds from the reel and rewinds onto another reel after it runs through the projector. To throw the picture on the screen, there is a bright light with a reflector behind it to send the light rays in the right direction, and a lens to concentrate the light.
Yes, so this is the part I was talking about, that we have a lens which is shown here, which is a convex lens. This is the film, and this is the light source.
The film passes a hole or aperture, which lets the light go through only one picture at a time. There is another lens to focus the pictures on the screen. By adjusting the lenses, the picture can be made sharp and clear. Let's start the machine moving. The still pictures blur because they're moving all the time. This won't do it all. We need something to hold each picture still long enough for us to look at it in between the changes. When the film is started and stopped in rapid succession, the eye sees the changes being made, and the result is streaks instead of movies. So we need a shutter to cut off the light while every change of picture is being made, and let light through only while the film is standing still. Surprising as it seems, you never see a motion picture while it is actually moving. The only time a movie moves is when the shutter keeps you from seeing the change of picture.
So there you go. You got the concept of how the movie is made, right? So the concept of making a movie is very clear. Now, how do we, computerize or digitize this whole process? This is where, we need to understand that we are dealing with an image. So until now, what is the image? Where exactly we come into real life? What is the context of that image? That is very clear for you, right? Now what we do is that after doing that, we're going to study what is the content in an image, and how do I store the content of that image or the film, basically, film I meant this one, right? This film. How do we store this content of this image onto computers so that I can digitize the entire? Remember that I'm replacing the this whole thing, the old method of producing movies. I'm going to replace that with, you know, uh, the digitalized one, where you don't have film like this. How are you going to build the content of an image? How are you going to store? How are you going to reproduce that? If you want to do some changes to that film or content, how do you going to do a process? So that is known as digital image processing. Most of the videos would not talk about this to you. Most of the videos do not bring the context of the image or pixel. Now, the second question comes up here is that what is the content of an image or a film? Basically, those are colors, right? So what exactly is an image? Let's take some image here. Again, in my last series, I spoke about this. My last episode, I spoke a little about this image. Let's go to this image now. And imagine this is your movie or film. I want to transfer this. So this image is basically what? It's having colors, different colors. It is having a brown color. It's having a black color. And this guy with the is a bit brownish. So maybe, white brownish, mix of colors. What we do is that in order for us to store this information, we first split this. How do you split this? This is the divide and rule, right? Last time we talked about. And then after we split this, you're trying to do a divide and rule here. I want the whole film to go. So what I'm going to do is simply, divide this. Now observe that every divided, let's call this a square for now. It's not exactly pixel. This square is having color, some color. This square is having some color. This square is having some color. All these colors can be reproduced with simply 3 of your colors, right? It's called as your RGB, right? This is RGB representation. I can make any color combining these colors, like how much I want red percentage, how much I want green, I want, say, 10 of red, 20 of green, and maybe 30 of blue. So when I combine this, I get a color here. This is simply what is this color? I can take some combination of this and produce this color. So in a computer, you can store the combinations of this in terms of binaries, RGB. For any color, how much you have red, how much green, how much blue. Then you can store the contrast or the brightness. So in my last program, we did talk about a program which was trying to use OpenCV library to get an image. So let's go to that program now, OpenCV, and then find out how does OpenCV work and how does it store an image. But before that, as I told, right, there are 2 ways to represent or produce a color. Right now you're seeing RGB. There is HSV also. We are going to talk about HSV and RGB separately, but let's talk about RGB first. So if I keep on further dividing this, which means that I make very small division here. Come at a point where I get 256. I mean, I come at a point of each of these, right? Let's take 1 pixel, sorry, 1 corner here. If I need to store this, I need to in turn divide this into rows and columns, right? That's correct. So in this pixel, what I'm doing is constantly everywhere you have the same color throughout this pixel. So all I know is that this particular pixel can be represented by a single color, which is combination of RGB, which has certain number of rows and columns. If I want to build the entire film, I would take such pixels like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the number of pixels? There are a certain number of rows and there's a certain number of columns. So either whether it's your LCD projector or your television set or monitor set, it has this. But how is this exactly stored? Let's go and see here, then you'll understand more. So I'm doing a video capture here. Let's go to this program, temp.vi, where I was trying to put an image here, right? When you read this image, you can also print this image. Let's see, what do you see when you print this image? You see, it's having this combination of 255, 255, 255, 255, 255 down. What is all this? It's having a constant color. How many rows and how many columns are there? Each pixel is storing certain information. And I'm using a system of RGB, that is red, clean, blue, to represent this. In a similar way, let's take this image and then try to see what exactly appears Amitabh Bachchan's image, right? So what we do is, in a very simple sense, I'm going to take this image and store it somewhere. Let's imagine that I'm going to store this image. You see these so many pixels are there, right, to store. Okay. Let's store this image. Let's store this as a JPEG picture. And where was this image stored? At the same place we are going to go. User seed cheat downloads. See user seed JSON file downloads. Let's store this as Amitabh Bachchan. Where is this stored? The users JSON57. There is downloads. Okay, so I'm going to take this name. Then let's go to this program. Let us standalone Brill, I'll say. Okay. Let's try to print the image. Now you see, right? The histogram is changed and the information what is being stored is also changed. What if I say just image? IMG. Let's just run this. Okay. So I'm storing this information. You see there is a variation in the colors. So it is able to store this matrix or array, whatever it is, with this information. There are certain number of rows and certain number of columns where the information is stored about the color. Now where do we talk about pixels? It is here we start talking about pixels. When the CV2 library is reading your image, it is storing this information in terms of pixels. Each pixel is having information like 255 of red, 255 of blue, 255 green. This is the first row. This is the second row. This is the third row. This is the fourth row, fifth row, sixth row. So this is the way information is stored. And this is the context of image. Image is stored in terms of pixels, in terms of binaries. So now we are going to see what is an RGB, right? Let's have a quick explanation of what is RGB.
RGB stands for primary colors red, green, and blue. RGB is additive color that is used in screen. It is additive color. 10 red, green, blue creates white. To get black, all values are at 0%. A pixel consists of red, green, blue bar. Each color bar has 256 values. 0 is off and 255 is fully turned on. This way there are lots of different color combinations possible.
So this is what we thought about the RGB, right? So today we learned what is the context of an image, and we actually learned how an image is made. We started, let's try to summarize what we did. We first saw how exactly an image is made in a real world, right? We talked about first the convex lens, how you produce a real image using convex lens. And we talked about slide projector, or how to produce an image using a film, a convex lens, and a light source. Then we talked about how a real projector works. Then we talked about when we take an image, what is the content of this image, and how does Pixel help us in storing the contents of this image onto a computer. And then we went to OpenCV library just to find out how we store each and every color of image. So this is the essence of having the context of a image and context of a pixel. So unless we understand this, these commands will not make much sense to you as to what exactly you're trying to do. So now we understood the command CV2 image read, why we are doing this, and what exactly is stored inside this in terms of the information which we saw here. And then next we are going to see a deep of this command, that is image.flat, and what exactly we're doing. Why did we give this arguments 256.0.256? So once we understand these commands, then we go a bit into data science of before we feed this, to any AI algorithms, what exactly we have to do with this information. That will go into a little deep in my next episode. Thank you for all. If you like the video, do hit the subscribe button, and happy learning with Python, OpenCV, and digital image processing. Thank you.